Hey, what is going on, guys? It's Payne here, and today we are going to be doing a guide review showcase for GANYU. First thing I do want to talk about this character. If you are a free-to-play or low spender and you are still working your way to the end game and you need a character that is going to carry your teams all the way to the end of the abyss, GANYU is going to be a must pull. She's one of the most broken DPSs in the game, and it's not even close. Her scaling is ridiculous. She has amazing AoE. She's cryo. You can fit her into basically every team, and she's going to do her job very, very well. So if you are, looking for a meta pick, she is a must pull, hands down, no question. Now, this video is going to be more for the people that are on the fence about pulling her. Let's get started. First thing I do want to talk about are going to be her weapons. She has a couple different options when weapons are concerned. Basically, any of the 5-star weapons outside of the Thundering Pulse are going to be fine for her. Obviously, her best in slot is going to be Amos Bow. It was made for her. The passive is really broken with how her charge shot works. Second best option is definitely going to probably be the Polar Star. It's got a decent base attack. It's going to give you a bunch of crit rate. It's also going to be just as good, if not maybe even a little better than Amos when it comes to freeze comp specifically. However, Amos is still going to be the best option when it comes to maxing out your charge shot damage. Next, Skyward Harp. It's just a stat stick. It's got a really high base attack. It's going to be basic. It's going to be good on GANYU no matter what team comp you're going to run her in. But again, it's going to be a little bit worse than Amos, although it's going to, pretty much be on par, if not a little bit worse than the Polar Star. But, nonetheless, a really good option, especially if you already have one. As far as free-to-play and 4-star options are concerned, Hamayumi is going to be the best one you can use. I actually have it R5'd. You're going to be, hitting anywhere between 27 to 35k with a fully, invested GANYU, triple crown, all that nonsense. This is actually, again, what I was using before I switched over to the Amos Bow. Prototype Crescent is also fine, although it is a little bit more restrictive, since you do have to get the headshot to enable the passive. I don't really like that. I like playing more casually, a little more comfy. I don't like trying to min-max numbers, so I think Hamayumi is going to be a better option for those kinds of people. All the other 4-star options are pretty copium. I wouldn't recommend any of them. I'm not going to really talk about them much. Viridescent Hunt is probably the best option just because it's a crit rate stat stick. But again, Hamayumi, Prototype Crescent, or the 5-stars you see right here are going to be good for everything else. Pretty copium. Next. Let's talk about GANYU's artifacts. Now, there are a couple actual different options you can use for her. I do think Wanderer's Troop 4-piece is the best option. It's going to be the most consistent high damaging build you can run. As you can see, it is going to be giving your charge attack damage 35% more damage. And you're also going to get a little bit of EM that's going to help with your melt comps as well, enabling some higher damage numbers. That being said, other options include Blizzard Strayer. This is going to be what a lot of people are using for freeze GANYU. It's definitely a good option. Lets you focus on crit damage pretty hard since you're going to get a bunch of crit rate from the passives, and you get a little bit more cryo damage. Last option you can consider for GANYU is going to be the Shiminawa's Reminiscence set. However, it is a bit restrictive. It's going to make it so your ult isn't going to be up as much, and if you're looking just to maximize the charge shot damage, now you want some funny screenshots to post on Reddit or whatever, you can run Shiminawa's, but again, I think Wanderer's Troop is going to be the better option for her. That pretty much covers all the artifacts. Definitely I'm going to recommend you be running a crit damage circlet on her if you do have the crit rate substats to back it up. I'll show you guys my GANYU real quick. We got 30% crit value or more on every single piece. Got a pretty cracked flower. This is the feather, timepiece, goblet, crown. Pause if you want to take a look at those. Not going to go over them too in depth. Just wanted to show you what you're working with here. We got 2300 attack, 5236 with a little bit of energy recharge, and a good amount of EM as well. And again, we are rocking the Amos Bow. Next thing I want to talk about, we've already went over weapons and artifacts. Let's talk about talents. Main priority is going to be her basic attack. You're definitely going to want to max this out first, followed by her ultimate, and then lastly is going to be her E. The scaling on this is insane. You're looking at almost 400% on her blue damage once you max it out. So again, this is going to be your main priority. Celestial Shower is a insanely big AoE that has a 100% uptime, so this is going to be your second priority. It's honestly still one of the best ultimates in the game. And then lastly is going to be her E. You'll get a little more skill damage. If you really want to max your GANYU, you can max out the E like I did, but again, it's not necessary. You can leave it anywhere from, talent level 7 or 8. Next thing we should talk about is going to be constellations. Now, GANYU is amazing at C0. You do not need constellations, period. I will leave it at that. However, if you are a whale and you want to have a broken character, more broken than potentially any other character in the game, C6 GANYU is quite insane. Now, we'll go through the constellations individually first. Let's talk about our C1. It's going to give you a little less cryo res. It's going to give you some energy back. Not super necessary, but it is a nice thing to have. This will give you a second charge shot. This will make her gameplay a little bit more fluid and enjoyable. Definitely like the C2 here, but again, not necessary whatsoever. Lastly is going to be her Constellation 4. This is going to give you a pretty big damage spike, not going to lie. Enemies are going to take more and more damage the longer they are within GANYU's AoE for her ultimate, and again, this is 100% uptime. So you're basically going to be dealing 25% more damage at all times with GANYU while these enemies are going to be in the alt field. Now, next thing. C3 and C5 are just, scaling constellations, kind of boring, but they're going to just equate to, more raw damage. Now let's talk about C6. C6 GANYU is the most broken character in the game, and I will say that flat out. This is obviously just my opinion, but basically what C6 is going to do, it's going to negate the necessity of actually charging your charge shot, and especially since it's going to trigger after using your E in combination with the C2 that gives you 2 charges, you're basically never going to have to actually charge up your charge shot. You can go E, charge shot, swap out, go through your normal rotations, and then by the time you switch back to GANYU, she's going to have her E's back, and you're going to be able to repeat this process, resulting in stupid high damage without any real downtime. So again, constellations, only pull these if you are financially stable, if you are fine wasting the money on a video game character and you do not need this money whatsoever. Because again, any money you put into the gacha system, you have to be okay just losing it and not getting anything out of it. That's the brutal reality of gacha games, and that's how it's always going to be. But again, if you are a whale, you want to min-max your GANYU, C6 is absolutely fucking broken, and it's going to make it so every piece of content in the game is beyond easy. Didn't talk about her passive, so I'll go over that real quick. This is going to give you some bonus crit rate on the bloom from her Frostflake arrow. This is going to enable you to build more crit damage on GANYU rather than focusing on crit rate, which is going to result in higher damage numbers. However, if you do skimp out on crit rate because of this passive, you will lose DPS over time, but again, your damage numbers when you actually do crit are going to be a lot higher. Next thing, this is just going to give you a 20% cry damage bonus when you're in the AoE of your ultimate. This is obviously good for GANYU. If you're running her alongside more cryo units, the better it is. But again, it's just some gravy, not super necessary. And then we're not even going to talk about her passive for Overworld. It doesn't matter. Makes bows cheaper, whatever. Next thing we need to talk about with GANYU is going to be who to pair her with and her general team comps. So let's take a look at that real quick. Now, the 2 biggest team comps that GANYU is going to excel in is going to be Melt, which I have right here. Shenhei's not necessary, but it will, make your damage a lot better if you do have Kazuha. Him and GANYU play really well together since you can stack their ultimates on top of each other as well. So if you are looking for, massive damage numbers, Melt is definitely going to be a good option. It's going to help you blow through the content in the game. However, if you're looking for something a little more comfy, I definitely recommend Freeze. This is one of my favorite comps, especially with Kokomi serving as a Hydra applicator and a healer at the same time. She doesn't have to take up 2 party slots, which is really nice. But Melt and Freeze are the 2 big comps you can run GANYU in. Now, what I will say is GANYU is very versatile, and she will fit into any team comp you put her in. And if you do already have 12 stars in the Abyss like I do, you can pretty much run her in any team comp and she is going to get the job done very easily. But again, if you're looking to min-max, if you're looking to play the meta, then what I said before, which is going to be Melt and Freeze, are going to be your 2 best options for her. That being said, I think that's pretty much all I really want to go over as far as GANYU is concerned. Again, I'll show you guys my stats real quick. We got Amos, 2300 attack, 171 EM, 5236, 127 ER, and I'll give you guys a quick showcase before we end the video. So let's demonstrate on a boy right here. Again, my GANYU is C6, so don't expect these damage numbers right out of the gate, but hopefully it'll give you a decent idea of what to expect when you do pull for her. So let's wait for him to wake up. Pop this. Let's use with cryo. And then we'll ult Bennett, E for Shenhei, reapply, And then, boom. Looking at 68, if that last hit would have crit, then we would be looking at around 100k charge shots. But again, this is what you can expect from GANYU. When you do build her, again, like I said, it's going to be C6, so it's not exactly 1-to-1. But again, I don't need to really tell you this. You know, this has already been beaten to the ground already. But GANYU is going to be one of, if not the best DPS unit in the game for a long time, and she is going to help your account massively, especially if you are struggling to get to the end game, especially if you're struggling to get 12 stars in the Abyss. What I will say is, this is just personal preference for me, I do find C0 GANYU very boring to play. You're just going to be sitting back, charge shouting over and over. Now, I will say, seeing the big numbers is still pretty fun, but again, I do think her gameplay is a bit boring when you do not have Constellation 6. However, again, she's still one of the best characters in the game. If you are playing on mobile, however, she can be pretty clunky with her charge shouting, so just be wary of that before you pull her. But again, she's still going to be ridiculous. She's still going to do a bunch of damage, and I cannot recommend that you pull her enough. Again, though, don't really go for constellations. It's super unnecessary. Only go for constellations if you're a whale. C0 is going to be more than enough. Same with her weapons. You do not need Amos Bow, Hamayumi, or Prototype Crescent is going to get the job done fine. That is pretty much all I wanted to talk about in this showcase video. If you guys have any other questions about builds, weapons, constellations, talents, yada yada yada, please leave those below. I check comments every single day, so I'll make sure to get back to you. Outside of that, that's going to do it for the video. I'm going to have some more character guides, showcases coming out very, very soon. I'm hoping to get this YouTube channel off the ground as soon as possible. I'm really happy with how things have turned out, and stay tuned for more. That's going to be it. Have a great day, guys. Catch you later.